Wowie Kazowie, Disney and Sony reach Windows deal that can sling Spider-Man to Disney Plus for the first time, along with Reach Around, Hulu, ABC, FX, and more. So, oh boy, Spider-Man will just be everywhere. And look how huge he is. And of course, he is. He's always been the big star of Marvel Comics. For a time, X-Men was kind of catching up to him, but he's the big star. But due to the licensing deals back when Marvel was having some problems, and we've all been there, and we sometimes have to do things that we're not proud of later. You know, certain videos you might have had to do for a little extra cash to get through college. Anyway, so Marvel sold off Spider-Man to, well, originally I think it was Columbia Pictures, but then Sony bought that. And so they had the film rights for Spider-Man. We all know the story. And but their Spider-Man movies crashed and burned when they tried to redo it with Andrew Garfield and all that. And so they were in a bad place, and boy, they needed a hit and whatnot. So they worked out a deal with Marvel because Marvel is all the rage, or at least it was at the time. But there was no Spider-Man, and they were like, "Oh man, if only we could have Spider-Man in the Marvel universe, and he would finally get right." So they cut a deal, and Sony makes money off of it. So good enough, huh? Although they do continue with their Venom movie, which I'm sure Disney was hoping would crash and burn, but it didn't. So here we are. They've got a deal with one another. And so far as it goes, there's really no signs in the future for Disney to absolutely buy Spider-Man back completely under Marvel. So they make this deal. So D Plus can have Spider-Man, all that. And so all the Spider-Man films can soon be on there. They still got to go through Netflix, though, because D Plus has had some good numbers for a while, but they're nowhere near Netflix. Despite recent stories, Netflix is apparently currently bleeding subscribers. So that's, well, that's something bears watching. But at the moment, they still want to have deals there. So my guess is how this works. It goes to Netflix first after the new movie releases, and then ends up at D Plus as well, and across their other platforms that Mickey Mouse owns. So that's the deal with that. Now, going forward, what does this have to do with the actual content of Spider-Man films? And well, one speculates, would there be more negotiations and deals between the two entities to craft storylines that fit in with that? So the rumor is, and I don't think it's much more of a rumor as actual fact, that the Spider-Man movie will deal with a multiverse storyline spinning out of, get it, spinning, of Doctor Strange. Now, initially the tease was that the WandaVision show would be like a prologue to it, and I guess all that was just she has that book, The Darkhold. Boy, WandaVision was such a fizzle. Even with Evan Peters showing up, which seemed to be more of a joke than anything, which it could have been a tease for multiverse implications. I don't see any reason why you had to sit through WandaVision to prepare yourself for Doctor Strange, other than that, Scarlet Witch will be in Doctor Strange. But, boy, WandaVision was interesting, but it fizzles. And, boy, it's kind of shades of Captain Marvel. But anyway, so Spider-Man will be involved with this, as well as certain villains from the previous franchises will return. Electro, Dr. Octopus. They're actually saying they've already admitted they're going to de-age him to look like he did back in the Sam Raimi film. And Green Goblin with Willem Dafoe, or at least Norman Osborn. I don't know if he'll suit up as Green Goblin or what. But, this is going to happen despite Tom Holland saying, I don't know what you're talking about, But apparently the other Spider-Men will show. And the rumor is one of them will die. Probably Andrew Garfield, since overall he was the least favorite. Even though, he kind of resembles Peter Parker more than the other two. But as it stands, Sam Raimi's first two Spider-Man film is about as close to Spider-Man as you're ever going to get. The MCU Spider-Man, to me, has been a dismal disappointment. That's not Spider-Man. The whole story is completely different, and maybe that had to do with the legal ramifications of it all. But it's the third film outing, and maybe that's Tom Holland saying goodbye to the role. I don't know. But maybe not. They might throw a bunch of money at him because Spider-Man is still king and very popular. The movies financially did well, but story-wise, they're pretty bad. So the saving grace for Spider-Man would be he gets to come home. Get it? But no, it really didn't. It's so far removed from the actual story of Spider-Man. He looks like Spider-Man, but that's about it. And it's just been basically they've been Iron Man movies more than Spider-Man. Even when Iron Man was dead, the last movie was still an Iron Man movie. So at least I guess this one, well, it sounds like it's going to be a Doctor Strange movie. But then again, is that part of the legalese that they're tangled in? And even if they both entities wanted to, they couldn't. So there's certain characters they can't use. Uncle Ben can't be mentioned and stuff like that. I don't know. Hopefully this hammers it out better as far as content goes. If it's just a deal that's like, oh, well, look, Spider-Man stuff will be on D+. Yeah, okay, so what? That's all there is to it. But all this happening when the next Spider-Man film's coming, and by all accounts involves multiverse and crossing over stuff. The other tease was the Morbius trailer, which Morbius has been delayed because the lockdown and everything. But there was that tease that there's some connection with Spider-Man, and then lo and behold, Michael Keaton shows up in it, and of course he was the Vulture. And is he the same character? Is that what this is about? And we saw like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, at least on a poster, appear in the background. Stuff like that. So is there some workings and connections of swapping around characters between the two within the actual content of the films? Which would be intriguing, but it could all just be dumb little Easter egg teases that mean nothing and lure you in. How many more times can they do this? Well, I guess we'll find out. But anyway, there you go. That's the crux of the deal. Spider-Man on D+. So there you go. How about that? Are you happy? Are you happy with that? It really doesn't mean a whole lot to me, beyond, of course, if it actually affects narrative. And maybe, just maybe, might actually get a good MCU Spider-Man film. But I'm extremely dubious because it sounds like it's just going to be clustered with a bunch of cameos of Battle of the Network Stars to distract you from a lackluster plot yet again. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.